Hello, my spooky people. I've been extremely sick for a few weeks. So I'm sorry for not posting in like a month. My bad. While I was extremely sick, you know, dying on my couch, doom scrolling social media, and I kind of realized something. While I've been going through this journey of making my own clothes and just finding my own style again, I realized that my wardrobe was severely lacking belts and accessories. So that's what I'm gonna make today. I was able to come up with a few concept sketches for some harnesses and a few belts. I did do a bunch of concept sketches, so I would like to talk about them right now. Okay, so I'm weird and I name things. Each of these belts and harnesses has a name. In order here is Vampire Hunter, Big Belt, Bat Belt, Cross Chest, and Edward Scissorhands. A lot of my designs for these were inspired by various belts and harnesses that I saw while I was sick and doom scrolling. I like the more strappy look of some of these harnesses, but I also enjoy a good chunky belt. I did around 20 total sketches before I narrowed it down to these 5. A couple of these designs really remind me of some armor, and it's making me want to cosplay again soon. Anyone have any suggestions? Anyway, this is what I'm aiming for. 5 whole projects in 1 week. Can I do it? Probably not. Am I delusional enough to do it? Well, I'll still a little bit sick. You bet. Let's go. Those are my 5 belts and harnesses that I would like to make today. I have some leather that I really haven't touched in a few years, just kind of sitting around, that would be perfect for this. I'm pretty excited to use up some of my crafting hoard for this project, so let's go make my belts and harnesses. Okay, so I'm gonna try and knock out as much of the tedious work first. 4 of the 5 belts have straps of some kind, so I'm gonna make all of my straps in one go, starting with cutting them out with my strap cutter set to the thickness of the buckles that I bought. I think I cut around 13 straps here, but I'll need to cut some more later. Once they're all cut out, I'll go ahead and paint them all black with some leather paint. I went with a paint this time as opposed to a leather dye because I wanted a super even coat, and sometimes black dye ends up looking a little blue even though it's supposed to be black. I'm glad I went with the paint this time. It looks so much better than some of my black dyed stuff. I did need to do like 3 or 4 coats to make sure it's super even and full coverage though. The biggest downside to this is that I'm not able to paint the back side to not have any tan showing, as it cracks and splits on the suede. So something I've never been super proud of with my leather work is my edges. So I'm gonna spend a decent amount of time making sure that I do this right. Once I'm done with painting all of the straps and getting the edges, I'll round them by sanding it. Nail files are perfect for this. I'm gonna do this to all of my strap edges. This hurt my hands a lot, and I wound up sanding a spot on my thumb. But I do think this step was worth it. With all of the edges sanded down, I can then go in with my Tokonol, which helps to make the edges nice and smooth and shiny. So I'll apply it to the edge and then smooth it with a scrap of denim. I'll do this in small sections down each side of the straps to finish them. Again, this took so long, but I'm so happy I did this in the end. I'm starting off with Edward Scissorhands. This one is just a bunch of straps, so hopefully it won't be too bad putting it together. I've got my dress form adjusted to my size, and I'm just going to drape this to form the harness. Another reason I'm starting with Edward is because of how much hardware it uses. This is one that I know I'm going to love, so I want to make sure I have all of the buckles and rings and such to make it look good. Like I said before, Edward is just a bunch of straps connected with an absurd amount of rings. I'm going to start with the rib straps. I'll get a ring set onto one end of a strap, and then I'll pin it to the dress form to keep the ring where I want it to be. Then I'll add a ring to the other end and trim the extra strap on the underside. Then I'll do this 2 more times. I'm setting a lot of these rivets off camera because I really don't feel like changing the camera angle every time I need to do that. It would have made this project take like 5 times longer to finish, so just imagine me sitting on the couch with a slab of granite in my lap and a hammer, setting some rivets. Once the 3 rib straps are set, I'll work on connecting the rings with little loops. I'm also going to add an extra 2 rings at the bottom of each line. This is going to work as some skirt hikes, and I'm very excited about this part. Next up, I'm going to get the shoulder straps made. I have a hole cut in the center of the top rib strap, and I'll attach another strap to that. To the top of that strap that I just added, I'm going to put a ring there. And then 2 more straps connected to that to go over the shoulders. But just kidding, because like a dumb, I put the buckles on this end when I should have put them on the bottom part of the shoulder straps, so I ended up taking these off after I put buckles on them. Thankfully I hadn't set the rivets yet, so it was an easy fix. With that all fixed and finished, I need to close up the harness in the front with the buckles on the rib straps. So I'll get the buckles attached, and then last thing I need to do with this is add the D-rings, punch all of the holes for the buckles, and then trim the extra straps. And that is Edward Scissorhands done! Next I decided to work on bat belt. I'm pretty excited about this one. I love bats, and the bat wing shape is a common theme in a lot of my handmade clothes. This one should be pretty simple with a thick belt and just one of those straps, and a buckle. I'm starting this one by making a wrapping paper pattern to get the shape right. I'm gonna get the right size by wrapping some paper around my dress form, and then off camera I'll draw and cut out the shape I want just to get it done and over with quickly. Once I'm happy-ish with the shape, I'll trace it out onto some leather and cut it out. Are these not the cutest pattern weights ever? My friend made them for me and I'm just obsessed. I need to make the edges of bat belt nice and smooth and pretty, so I'm going to go ahead and sand down the edges now before I paint it. So this is the moment I realized I'd need more straps. So while I'm working on bat belt, I'm also going to go ahead and make 3 other straps to cover the rest of this project. So once that's all sanded and the table is wiped off, I can paint these. And then burnish the edges just like I did the straps before. With that done, I'm going to put a buckle on a strap and then line it up with the top of the bat wing bit of the bat belt and attach it with a lot of rivets. I'm using my tailor's ham to build in a bit of a curve to this to make sure I don't stiffen and restrict this belt from bending around me like a belt should. The last step for this belt is to punch out all of the holes for the buckle to go through, and then this one is done! This next one I'm calling Vampire Hunter. I have some hardware that I wanted to use for this that's like a stake that goes through a hole in a peg. I've had it for a while and it always gave me a vampire vibe, so I'm just gonna go with that and make something asymmetrical as well. Like Edward, this starts with the rib straps. I'm going to put a buckle on 2 of my longest straps. And I will go ahead and put a ring on a 3rd strap with a buckle on the other end. With all of that pre-made and ready, I'm going to use my dress form to start sizing the rib straps. And I guess my camera really just wanted to focus on my tattoos today. I'm sorry. Once the rib straps are done and trimmed, I'll start the shoulder strap with the 3rd buckle strap that I made. While I set those rivets, I'll also attach some D-rings using a halved strap piece. Once that's done, I'll then attach the strap with the ring to the back and a small piece on the front to stabilize it where there isn't a strap. I'll then attach 1 strap to the top of the back ring to go over the shoulder with the buckle, which I'll go ahead and punch the holes for and trim. Now I need to make a pattern for the coffin piece that will rest over my heart. I'm gonna do this with some wrapping paper. Once I'm happy with that, I will make it out of leather and then do the whole edge treatment that I've been doing. I'll then attach it to the ring in the back and set up the hardware for the stake to go over my heart. I have the chain attached to a D-ring so that it crosses over my chest. And once that is done, so is this harness. Next up, I'm going to work on the last 2 at the same time because I'm trying to finish this. So I'll be working on the cross chest harness and big belt. The cross-chest harness will have a solid back piece and crossing belts that I kinda want loose and not super tight like the rest. I'm still debating on if I want the horizontal strap in the front, and I think I'll skip that. For big belt, I really wanted something chunky and easy to put on. I have some magnetic snaps, and I think I'm going to add some boning to the front to make sure it doesn't bend too bad while I wear it. Both of these need to be patterned out, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that with some wrapping paper, starting with big belt. Once I'm happy with big belt, then I'll go ahead and pattern out cross chest. With both of those patterned out, I gotta cut it out, paint it, and then do all of those edges. With that done and all of my pieces prepped, I can get it all put together. These two are going to use quite a bit of hand sewing, so I need to punch the stitching holes and then I will sew them together by hand using a crisscross stitch. I'm not really sure if this stitch is called anything, I just thought it looked neat for my seams. I don't know what's going on with the focus on my camera here. I'm sorry, it's blurry. I was still recovering while filming this, and I guess I didn't pay close enough attention. My bad. With all of the seams sewn together, I can move on. Cross chest needs some straps, so I'm going to work on that now. The strap that goes around the back has two buckles on either end, so I'm going to get those attached first and then make the straps to connect it all. With all of the holes punched for the buckles, this one is done. To complete big belt, first I need to figure out my color scheme. In the concept, I have some silver hardware and white tape for the boning channel. I don't have enough silver magnetic snaps, but I do have enough of bronze, so I'm going to do black boning channels instead. I'm going to get the boning channels sewn in first by marking off where it will be and then punching the stitching holes. Once that's done, I'll sew the bias tape down with the saddle stitch and then insert some boning. The last thing I need to do for this one is to set the magnetic snaps. And finally, I am done with my 2 belts and 3 harnesses. I am beyond happy. I am so tired. If I decide to make 5 of something again for one video, somebody smack me please. That was way too much work. But overall, I think I'm pretty happy with how they all came out. I am not a leather worker, and it was a bit delusional of my sick brain to think that 5 belts is fine, and I can do that in a week. It's fine. It was a lot of work. That was too much work. That was a lot. I am proud of the work that I did put into these. I'm not a professional leather worker. I am not trained in leather work. I am very much self-taught in really all of my crafts, but leatherwork especially has been hit or miss for me. But I do think these turned out pretty well, pretty acceptable. The bat belt I'm not super happy with, and I think I need to adjust the bottom lines of that belt. Something about the front doesn't quite hit right, and looking at my reference picture I see I got the angles completely wrong, so that one might be remade eventually sometime in the future. The crossbody harness turned out really well. That one corrects my posture a lot more than maybe I want. I have scoliosis, and so it is a natural posture for me to kind of be bent forward a little bit, and that one I have to it pulls my shoulders back, which in the long run it's probably good that it does that, and my back will probably thank me for that one, but it's not something that I find comfortable for just date night wear. I'm so happy with how Edward and the big belt and even the vampire hunter harness, I'm so happy how those came out. Everything else I think I will wear eventually, but it's got to be like the right outfit and the right opportunity, because I think I'm definitely going to go for Edward before anything else. I did try and show this out there while I was doing a reveal footage, but I don't think it showed up very well, so I'm going to show it again. I adore Edward because it comes with some little skirt hikes. I was definitely dreaming of Ren Fair when I came up with this design and decided to put skirt hikes on it. So yeah, I'm going to show you how skirt hikes work. You just take a corner of a skirt that you want to be shortened in the front, you put it through both loops, and then you bring one out and then put the skirt around that one and then just kind of pull, and then it's up. And so you can either do just one like that or go over just a little bit in the front and do the same thing to the other side. Pretty simple to get your skirt out of the way. Can't really see. So pretty easy to get your skirt out of the way. It's also like a Ren Fair vibe. I'm very proud of the work that I did. I did a lot of research to try and get my edges nice and shiny and smooth, and I'm very happy with how those edges came out. They are smooth and it doesn't feel as bad. I mean, even on my bare skin up here, these don't feel bad to wear, so thankfully I didn't mess it up too bad. That being said, there's definitely some room for improvement on all of these. I was still fairly sick when I started making these, so there were a few mistakes that I could have avoided, but I'm not gonna linger on those too much. I did end up with quite a few accessories to add to my wardrobe, and so I'm very happy about that. Let me know what you thought about these in the comments. Go ahead and like the video if you liked it, and subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! I want to know how many people watched to the very end of the video. If you made it this far, comment with the bat emoji. Bye!